So I got to tell you, the struggle of being the only one in the house that is doing a carnivore or a low carb diet is real. I've struggled with this quite a bit at times, especially early on. I'd walk into the kitchen and I'd find cupcakes or cookies or something like that. Um, then going out to dinner, for instance, be like, well, dad only eats meat, so we have to find somewhere where he can go eat meat. It's like, I can probably find something to eat at most places, right? Um, it's it's not ideal to go out to eat. It's easier to make my own food at home. But typically you can go to a restaurant and you can find some kind of meat or some fish or whatever it is that you want to eat, right? So I can do that, but they always have the comments, right? Um, and it's tough too when you're out at dinner because um, again, nobody else is doing the carnivore diet in the house in the family, and they have appetizers. They might have cheese fries or something like that, and um, I mean, that food is horrible, but it's very tempting. Either that or like eating some bread or something because a lot of places give you bread and so forth, right? So it can get pretty tempting. Um, it's also more expensive, I find, to go out to eat because a lot of times if I want to get enough meat for what I want, um, you know, like you might order, let's say you go someplace and somebody gets a burger, right? They'll get a burger and fries, um, and they're fine with that. But if I got that, I wouldn't eat the fries. I wouldn't eat the bun. I wouldn't eat any toppings. It would pretty much be the burger, maybe some cheese. So I might want to have a couple burger patties or something. Or like if I go and get steak somewhere, right? Um, a lot of times you'll get a salad, you'll get some sort of side like a baked potato or something, and it's pretty tempting. And sometimes I do cheat and I will have that salad or I will have like mashed potatoes or something with it or something. But then other times I don't want that. So I'll eat the steak. If I get a big enough steak, I'm usually fine. But, again, it's one of the challenges is going out to eat, and the family likes to go out to eat at least sometimes, right? So you have to find the right balance there. But I'm going to say there is a benefit to being the only one doing the carnivore diet as well. You don't have to eat 3 to 4 times a day like everyone else is. Sometimes I eat once a day. Most of the time I probably eat twice a day though, but sometimes I do once a day. But even at twice a day, that's like half the amount of times that everybody else is eating. I can, as being the only one eating carnivore, I can decide when I'm hungry, and that's when I'm going to make my meal to eat. I don't have to worry about other people eating at the same time as me because they'll kind of do their own meals for the most part, and then I do my own meals. Um, so a lot of times they're more set up to eat at certain times of the day, right? So they might want to eat lunch like around noon or something. They might want to eat dinner at like 5, 6 o'clock or something. A lot of them eat breakfast. Most people in the family eat breakfast. I don't eat breakfast at all. If I eat enough at the lunchtime period, which is usually around noon, 1 o'clock, then I could go all day without eating. If I don't eat quite as much that time, then probably around 6 or 7, I do eat again. But again, it's based on when I'm getting hungry, and then I'll go ahead and cook up some meat or something or eggs or whatever it is I end up eating. So, there is that benefit that as the only one in the family eating, I can pretty much set it up to eat whenever I feel hungry. If everybody in the family was doing the carnivore diet, then I would have to, well, I wouldn't have to, but it would make more sense if everybody kind of ate around the same times, even if it's just once or twice a day. Um, but again, that, you know, it works better if you're eating when you're hungry. And, there are times when I'm just not hungry for a second meal and then I just don't eat. So, also looking at some of my personal experiences with the family, at first they would question it. They would tell me that it wasn't very healthy, that my cholesterol would be sky high. And, I'd hear different things like, oh, you'll get constipated if you do the carnivore diet because you're not getting any fiber. Um, and then my personal favorite, you need carbs to provide you energy, or you're going to be tired all the time, or you won't be able to build muscle without eating carbs. And it's funny because I have more energy now than I used to when I used to eat carbs all the time. So the energy thing with carbs, I don't get that why people say that, because I have more energy now that I don't eat carbs. Um, and, obviously you can build muscle with not eating carbs. Um, I mean, I've been doing a pretty good job, and I've only really gotten more into working out here in the last few weeks. Before that, for pretty much, I would say, good 8 months of the carnivore diet, I was very sporadic at working out, like maybe once every couple weeks or something I would work out. And now I am working out a good 2 to 3 times a week for the most part. And I've been doing that for a few weeks now, about maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks or so. And I've been building muscle pretty good, and I don't need the carbs. You don't need carbs. You get the protein and the fat, and you're doing fine. And then going back to the whole thing about being constipated, I know that some people do actually struggle with that a little bit on carnivore, but really it has a lot to do with making sure that you're eating enough fat. So when you go low carb or no carb at all, you have to increase your fat intake. And if you haven't increased it enough, there is a possibility of constipation. I personally have not run into that. My, my bowel movements have been pretty good. They've been pretty consistent. Before going on carnivore, I'd say I'd probably go 3, 4 times a day. And now it's pretty much once a day. Sometimes I don't go on a particular day, but for the most part, it's once a day. And it's, it's completely fine. It's formed and normal, you know. So that worked great. And I don't have any fiber. I haven't had any fiber for several months, So that obviously isn't a problem. So, as I said, the family would really question things early on, right? And say that they didn't think the diet was good, for not healthy and that kind of stuff. And but then as time went on, they kind of got silent about it. They saw my body start to transform. They saw the fat coming off. Um, they saw the extra energy. So it's interesting because for the longest time here, for several years, I just didn't have any energy to do anything, and I didn't really like to go out and do anything. I'd work, and then I'd just want to sit and watch TV or something. So, I just didn't really have the energy. And I would say probably a couple of months after doing carnivore, it was probably a couple months into it, I started to really notice my energy levels going up. And it was interesting because my wife, I catch her off guard sometimes, because I'd be like, get done with work, and I come down and I'd be like, so what do you want to do? You want to go out and do something? And she'd be like, what? You never want to do anything. So interesting how, cutting out the carbs, I've actually gotten more energy, and I feel like doing things that I never used to want to do and stuff. And people, that are trying to people that are trying to deter you from doing the diet will say just the opposite. They'll say that you won't have energy and you won't feel like doing anything. You'll be sick all the time. And it's complete opposite. It's been complete opposite for me. And I think another thing that really helped with the family being at least okay with me doing the diet is that they've seen what's happened with some of my blood work. So, I have another video out there going over my blood work here from my most recent blood work from just a few weeks ago. But my triglycerides went down. My HDL has gone up some. The VLDL has improved. My A1C is great. And I think all these things have silenced the negativity that they had about the diet. The only thing I really hear now is they're like, well, I don't know that I can just not eat carbs anymore. So I guess that's their way of saying that they're not going to do the diet, which I guess is fine. I wish that I could get them to do the diet, but you can't force people into it, right? You can't force people to do a diet that they're not wanting to do. The only way they're going to be successful is if they truly want to do that diet. So, maybe over time they'll come around, but I'm not going to force them into anything or try and push it or anything. I'll just let them see, the results that I have and so forth. And hopefully over time, they'll want to do the diet too, because it really, I keep calling it a diet, but to me, it's not even a diet. It's more of a lifestyle, right? It's just a lifestyle change. It's the way we should have been eating. And for years, for years and years, we've been told to eat differently, and it was wrong. I fully believe that. And, people are sick because of it, and people slowly die because of it, and so forth. I know everybody's going to die at some point, but, I definitely feel better. I feel healthier and stronger than I ever have before. And, I'm almost 50 years old now. I'm 49 years old, and I feel much better than I have in years with the diet. So those are my experiences. Just want to talk to you a little bit about those today. Let me know in the comments what your experiences have been if you're doing the carnivore diet. And subscribe if you are interested in seeing more content like this and watching my carnivore journey.